Hey, it's Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California, here with the third of 3 sequences to help get you deeper into your hanumanasana splits. If you haven't seen the other 2, be sure to check them out. And just a fair warning that this one is going to involve a flip grip. So if you can't do flip grip, go ahead and grab a strap. I'll wait. I won't really wait. Just pause the video and I'll be here when you get back. That being said, remember that you should never be practicing splits until you've really warmed up your body. I don't get into splits in my practice until about an hour and 15 or an hour and a half all the way into my practice. That's a lot of warming up. If you want, I created a free PDF to help you create a home-based practice that includes all the elements for a really effective practice that will get you into all your yoga goals. Just email me, Shana@YOGAthletica.com, and I will send you that amazing graphic that I created. Also, check out my Vimeo channels, link in the description, in order to get my idea of incredible full-length classes, ranging from about half an hour to about 2.5 hours, all lengths, all intensities, all designed to give you a proper warm-up and cool down to make sure that all your goals are being met. Okay, today we start in Baddha Konasana. So feet together, knees apart at the front of your mat. If you want my full instruction on Baddha Konasana, check out my Baddha Konasana videos. I actually have 2 tutorials, including like how to make it super deep if you're interested. But let's just leave it at feet open like a book, and knees are pulling away from your hips to get the knees nice and low. Spine is long. For a lot of people, just keeping your hands behind is really like the best way to get you there. But if you can maintain a nice long spine and have your hands forward, feel free to move forward. Remember that every forward bend has an element of a back bend. So even as I walk my hands forward, not only do I maintain length in my spine, but I'm going to use my hands to sort of push myself backwards. You see what I just did? To root my tailbone as I fold in. We're going to take about 5 deep breaths here, giving the hips a really good chance to open up. And then walking back, I hold my right foot in place. I'm going to try to keep my foot midline. Now, this isn't for everybody. If this is too intense, it's okay for the right foot to come to the left. But if you could keep it in the midline of your body, it will take it way deeper into your hip flexors. So I swing my leg around, and I want to be directly on top of that back knee, right? Just like my splits. And then I position myself so my foot is right in the middle of my chest and fold it in. Try not to let this left hip lift. You see what I'm doing right here and how I turn sort of to the inside of my knee. I want to get right to the top of my knee so it's pointing down, and turn my hip down so my hip is also facing down and my thigh is on the floor, my left thigh, my left hip. The low back should be parallel to the ceiling. As always, feel free to hold these poses for longer than I am. I'm only doing about 5 breaths. Okay, so lifting on my chest, I'm going to move my foot now over to sort of the typical place where you're going to have your pigeon, your single pigeon. So my foot is at my hip, right? And I'm going to come into a flip grip. If you can't do a flip grip, grab your strap now. If you don't know how to do that, I have videos helping with flip grip. Okay, to do an actual flip grip, take your hand like you're serving hors d'oeuvres. Anybody? Hors d'oeuvres? And take it to the bottom of your foot, which is really the top of my foot. Reach to the inside. You see how my fingers are on the inside of the foot. And then I pull my elbow towards my body to rotate it up. I square off and reach with my other hand, dropping my head back towards my foot. A little hard to talk like this. From there, gently release. Try not to just fling your leg out of it. And we're going to do the same transition, honestly, here into Hanuman as we did in number 2, coming from the split. So I sort of lean over to the right, okay, to the inside of the knee. I extend my leg out. This one isn't great for people who can't do a full split. So if you can't do a full split, just lift yourself up, grab a block or 2, put it under your thigh, and then we square off, okay? So I'm going to square my body as much as possible. I'm supporting myself in my splits in these 3 videos just to really maximize the lift in my chest. Now I have to be honest, I'm not sure how well this next one's going to work if you're on blocks. So you may have to play with that, but I'm going to add in the flip grip in the split now, okay? So I bend my knee, same thing. It's really not a harder flip grip than it is in the previous pose. Same thing, I find my rotation. The balance is a little tricky though. And release. Okay, leaning to the right. I'm only laughing because sometimes when I look at my actual video after I shoot, I'm like, oh my God, that looks terrible. Okay, so I don't know if that looked terrible, but let's take your feet together at the front of the mat. We're not gonna actually hold the Baddha Konasana again, but remember that my goal here is to sort of lock the left foot in the midline. And again, if that's too intense, you just move it over to the right. But by coming back to midline, it helps. So I sort of secure that with my thumb, roll the right leg behind, and fold in. I always say, you've arrived when you can pick your nose with your toes. It may not be very ladylike, but at least I know I've arrived. Have your hips square to the floor and the ceiling. We move in, lift the chest, bend the knee towards your hip. Okay? So maybe it will help you a little bit if you're not a flip gripper to see it from the other side. So I have my hors d'oeuvre hand, bending the back knee, sorry. You see how my hand comes to the big toe edge, how it's all the way under? You really want that, because if you're at the toes, they're going to slide off. So you want to get all the way to the other side of the foot and rotate. Second arm comes in and try to get it toward your head. And gently release. Okay, so coming into hanumanasana, I lean to the left, to the left, to the left. Swing that leg out. Square off. Okay, remember I'm going to tuck my back toes under to get my hips nice and square here. Take some breaths. It's very normal, by the way, for one side to be looser than the other side, which is a nice way of saying it's very normal for one side to be tighter than the other side. So don't worry if that's the situation. But to the best of your ability, listen, if one side is tighter, it might be a clue to spend some extra time on that side to try to even things out a little bit. Okay, so let's go for the flip grip. Grab your strap if you need it. Okay, I grab my foot, rotate, take my second grip, wobble, and gently release. And from here, I bring my leg around, and I actually really recommend, even though this is not the hip opener, but this is a perfect opportunity to come into Paschimottanasana, grab your butt, move it back, lengthen your hamstrings, and fold in. Again, maintaining a straight spine. You go as low as you can. If you can get your stomach down and then your chest, then you earn the right to drop your head, but only if you could do those two things. Now, when I drop my head, remember the goal is not really to get my head to my knees, but to my feet, because every forward bend has an element of a back bend. So just coming into this nice neutralizing stretch. You may want to hold that one longer because it just feels so good. Again, if you want my free PDF that shows you exactly where to put a split sequence into a broader home practice, email me at shana@yogathletica.com and I will send you this free and very cool PDF. Also, be sure to subscribe to my Vimeo channels where you get hundreds of full-length classes to get you to all your yoga goals. This is Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California. Happy hanumanasana.